This is one of the greatest sports cars of all time. When our car was built, its roots were already over 20 years old and had established itself with fans and on racetracks all around the world. Carrera 3.2 became popular with yuppies, becoming a symbol of the prosperous 80s. But even with the huge whale tail spoilers, the 911's tricky handling often caught them out. But what will Stuart make of the Porsche Carrera 911 3.2? So it's been your dream. You're now driving the Porsche Carrera 911. What do you think?
It's good. No, I like it. The more I've driven it, the more I like it actually. It handles better than I thought it would do. I thought it'd be a bit more twitchy.
Yeah.
Especially around the corners and especially as it's a bit damp today as well, but it's been okay.
So if you were to bring this home then, do you think your family and friends would be pretty impressed by it?
Oh, I think definitely. It's hard not to be, I think, really. I mean, like, the looks of it alone enough, and I think as soon as you go for a drive in it, it just puts a smile on your face. I mean, they all put a smile on your face.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
But I get the impression overall that this really hasn't lived up to your expectations.
No, I don't think it has, not completely. And maybe that's to do with the fact that it is old. I think maybe if I had a little bit more money to spend on maybe a new one, then maybe that would be sort of persuade me a bit more.
Now over 40 years since Porsche launched the replacement for the 356. Released at the Frankfurt show in 1963 with a 6-cylinder, horizontally opposed air-cooled engine overhanging the rear axle, the 911 legend would remain fundamentally the same until 1997 when the Porsche launched the water-cooled 996. Our 3.2 Carrera was launched in 1984. It replaced the popular SC and was more powerful thanks to a larger engine capacity increased by 200cc to 3.2 litres. And it wasn't just the 80s yuppies who loved the car. In retrospect, 911 fans consider the 3.2 as the last real 911, before the introduction of the 964 in 1989. Apart from being one of motoring's all-time greats, 911 ownership has an awful lot going for it. This particular car here has a reputation, and rightly so, of a supercar that you can drive every day. And if well looked after, you can put huge mileage up on them. Now, there's an awful lot of Porsche specialists around, which means it keeps down the cost of servicing. The 3.2 Carrera introduced the electronic fuel management system, which helped with performance and with economy. It's not unusual for these cars to return around 29 miles to the gallon, which is very impressive for a car that can get up to 150 miles an hour. So, what should you be paying for a Carrera 3.2? With these cars, condition is more important than age. After all, even the last of the 3.2s are over 14 years old now. Prices in the low range start at around £10,000, but for Stuart's 15 grand, he should be looking at a good coupe or a slightly scruffier cabriolet. But let's find out what he thinks of Porsche's 911 Carrera 3.2 cabriolet. So Stuart, eventually you've gotten into a Porsche 911. It's been an ambition of yours all your life, you were saying.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
What's the verdict?
It's not quite what I was expecting, to be honest. The engine sounds amazing. When you start it up, it just roars. It's got like a sort of deep grunt to it. But you can just feel that it's a lot older car compared to the other two. It's a lot heavier to drive.
You sound to me like you're afraid to say it, but just slightly disappointed with it.
Yeah, maybe slightly, to be honest.
After all those years of waiting.
I think I'd be won over on the looks more than the drive, but after driving it, I don't think it's as much fun as the other two.
All right, well listen, I've shown you my 3 cars and you've driven them all. I think you've enjoyed them, some more than others, but don't make up your mind just yet because we've one more car for you to have a look at. That's our alternative car.